Does your own anger petrify you at times? Do you ever end up regretting how you talked or treated someone? Have you ever lost your temper and saw red because of an idiotic driver? What are the first steps you can take to control your temper, become a calmer person, yet still not be a pushover? Hi, my name is Dr. Aziz. I'm a psychology graduate of Cambridge University and also a medical doctor. In this video, I'll be covering the book Anger Management for Dummies. It's a no-nonsense guide covering everything from how to talk to difficult members of your family to predicting when you are about to lose your temper and effective management techniques once we do lose our cool, as we all do from time to time. The book is a great read in just over 360 pages, but don't worry, you don't have to read it because I've done the hard work for you and will be presenting all the key points in this video over the next few minutes. So what is anger? Anger is an emotion regulated primarily by the limbic system of the brain. Like most emotions, it can be expressed for good and bad. Let's start with the bad. At its most extreme, during an uncontrolled angry outburst, an individual may do things that they wouldn't normally do. They may shout or even hit a loved one or drive like a maniac. At a lesser level, people who are easily upset and prone to anger outbursts are difficult to relax around. Others will be less keen to be around you, and that's something none of us want. But it's not just others who can be hurt. Constantly being wound up is actually bad for your own health. But rage can also be harnessed for good. Entire communities have in fact been transformed as a result of righteous rage. Nelson Mandela is an example of this. His rage against racial injustice started a powerful movement against the racist apartheid regime of South Africa. Like Mandela, you can use your anger to make the world a better place as opposed to making your personal life a destructive one. So how can you control your anger? The best way is to identify the early signals and have a strategy of calming down. We all remember when we lost our temper, but what we realize less is that there were actually subtle cues leading up to the anger loss. These include breathing faster, blushing, sweating, and tensing up one's hands and jaws. If you learn to pay careful attention to these, you'll have a real chance of calming down before it's too late. But what should you actually do to calm down? Number one, remind yourself that peak rage lasts only 5 to 10 minutes. This is a very short but potentially destructive period of time, but you can easily wait it out. Number two, take deep breaths and remember this feeling will pass. This itself can help calm you down. Number three, distract yourself. Give your brain something else to think about. For example, switch to thinking about a holiday that you are planning, or count something on the wall, or even balance on one leg. Yes, it works because you've switched from the anger trigger. Number four, sometimes it's the other party that's angry. From my own personal experience, sometimes we have raging patients, and sometimes saying something completely off, like, wow, where did you get those shoes from? They look very nice, serves to both distract and calm everyone down. Remember that it takes two parties to have a conflict. The best thing you can do is to stay calm. Eventually, they will have no option but to pipe down. They will probably feel silly and maybe even apologize. Number five, once you've all calmed down, come back to the situation and try and see what good can be extracted now that the anger has been taken out of the equation. A good tactic I found is to think of someone you know who is very calm. Think about how they would react in the same situation you're in that's making you angry, and on a bigger picture, think about how well liked they probably are. Another aspect covered in this book is brooding and how this can lead to a loss of temper. Brooding means to think deeply about something that makes you unhappy. Knowing things happen every day. Your car breaks down, people are rude to you, traffic jams. These can all lead to the unhealthy habit of brooding, i.e. perpetually complaining or feeling unhappy. Unchecked, these can snowball and ultimately lead to an emotional explosion. Brooding happens to everyone, but the good news is there is a way to control it. The simple technique advocated is to confine it to a 15-minute period every day. For example, at 6 p.m. every day, make sure you do brood and note down all the negative events of that day, even if you've had a good day. If obsessive thoughts occur outside of this time period, postpone it and you'll find your inclination to constantly be grumpy or brood dissipate over time. But we're all human, and sometimes simply trying to dismiss negative emotions is difficult. Again, use distraction. In medical clinics, even if we are running late after a difficult or fractious consultation, many doctors go for a short walk, even if it's just outside for a couple of minutes. Where there is trouble, walk away, distract yourself, and then regroup. Sometimes it is trauma within our own past which leaves us vulnerable. For example, say your father used to ridicule you in public, or if you were bullied in school, you may find yourself furious when a friend playfully teases you. The advice given in this book is address the hurt you feel from your past by talking to someone about them and reconcile these with your memories. Personally, I feel the issue of dealing with past traumas is a lot more complex. I'm currently working through the outstanding but very complex book The Body Keeps the Score, which deals with past traumas, so be sure to subscribe to be notified as soon as the video is released on this channel. Next, the book describes two types of stress stresses: major stresses such as losing one's job, having to move or getting pregnant, and minor stressors such as deadlines, acne, or noisy working environments. Interestingly, minor ones can be just as bad for your health as major ones, with chronic stress leading to increased cortisol levels, elevated blood pressure, depression, and exacerbation of chronic health conditions. Needless to say, controlling your stress is paramount. How do you do this? Simply changing your outlook can make a difference. Moving homes or having a baby is not necessarily a bad thing. Focus on the positives. Happiness comes from within, remember that. Finally, as some long-term advice for your mental health, the book advocates good sleep and crucially regular exercise. After exercise, it's actually very difficult to feel angry given the dissipation of cortisol and influx of endorphins, the feel-good hormones. Finally, make a list of all the things that are good in your life. Simple things such as having a roof over your head, the delicious coffee you're about to have, the beautiful sun in the sky. Gratitude can work wonders for our mental health and stress levels. In summary, if you don't control your anger, it will end up controlling you and wreaking havoc. But there are simple and effective techniques to try and control these. We don't always have to win and lose in life. Sometimes we win, sometimes we learn. But staying in control is better for you, me, and everyone else around us. Anyway, I hope you learned something useful and enjoyed this summary. If you want to keep learning about psychology, medicine, and life hacks, hit the like, subscribe, and notifications button. Any suggestions or comments, feel free to post below. Until next time, stay safe.